I am a lifelong artiste. It's always been a part of me since a very young age. So I don't remember a time when I haven't been creative in some media or another. As far as mediums that I do use in my toolkit, in addition to photography, I am also a certified audio engineer. I draw, paint, I have done some sculpting and jewelry making, so it's kind of a renaissance thing with me. Well, photography is one of those things that has been with me for quite a while. The way that it became a part of my creative toolbox is that I was frustrated with my mother's photographic skills when it came to documenting family events. She was the type that would always chop off heads. Being that I, possessed a creative eye, I kind of took over that position, and it was kind of like, hey, let me show you how it's done. And she saw that I had some talent, mothers being mothers, always wanting to support their children's exploits. She kind of, pushed me to pursue it.
The question, the age-old question of, is photography an art form?
Most definitely. I mean, the term photography itself literally means painting with light. So, yes, it is an art form. It's unfortunate that many people don't view it as such, and even, there are many air quote photographers who don't treat it as such, but it is definitely an art form. First professional camera that I picked up would probably be Canon 5D Classic. First digital full frame, yeah.
So, what are you currently shooting?
Currently I am using a Canon 5D Mark III.
So, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you're a Canon.
I am, but not because it is technologically superior to any other brand. It's just when I first got into photography back in the mid to late 90s, I started with manual Canon cameras. So I was familiar, I was comfortable with Canon, and I just stuck with it. It doesn't really matter. I can make magic no matter what you give me. Go-to is going to be 85mm prime all day. I'm a prime shooter, and I default to the 85mm because of the nature of the subjects that I normally tackle. Primarily portrait, lifestyle, editorial work. So the 85mm affords me the ability to get closer to my subjects without being physically closer to them, as well as, because of the focal length, when I do decide to shoot wider, I still get a pretty solid image if and when I need to crop anyway. So ultimately, it all depends on your individual shooting style. For me, I prefer the primes because my work is very big on sharpness and clarity, and unless you're spending an ungodly amount of money, you're not going to get that in a zoom. Whereas with a decent prime, those things kind of come stock, depending on which brand you go with. So that is the reason that I prefer primes. Also, as far as you needing to move your feet, I find that is an extreme advantage, because whereas a lot of photographers will rely on the zoom factor to create their compositions, whenever you have to actually move to get the shot that you want, it forces you to think on your feet and consider different variables in the environment, and also makes your compositions a lot more interesting. I would say the main thing is defaulting to the I'm a natural light photographer syndrome. Again, photography is all about crafting your imagery, not just being an image taker, but an image maker. And it is very difficult to do that if you are afraid of shaping light. So even if you do choose to be a natural light photographer, you should still have a good grasp on how to use strobes, speed lights, modifiers, things of that nature. Because when you understand their purpose, how they're used, then when you take them away, you still have a solid concept of the things that you'll need to do without them to shape the light to achieve the look that you want. Let's see, how do you get better as a photographer? I think the first thing a photographer needs to understand is that the learning never stops. Although concepts may be recycled, technology always advances. So you want to be comfortable with learning new technology and considering different styles and approaches to the same subjects that you may have been tackling before. Just being able to not get stuck in a particular comfort zone. It's fine to have your niche, but you should always be pushing that forward. I don't rely on natural light. I strobe everything. Location, studio, it doesn't matter. What I learned at Gwinnett Tech in the commercial photography department was how to balance strobing with the natural light aspect to kind of give it the sheen that I desire. So I crafted the look that you've noticed by being able to understand light in general, how it plays into the way that I compose my image, as well as process on the back end. You know, being in a city like Atlanta where there are a lot of talented photographers, you know, you're always inspired by your peers. You know, a couple I can think of would be Artemis Jenkins, definitely Chilio would be another. Kaya Ferry's dope. Some up and coming ones like Phyllis Iller. Also very nice. Got to give a shout out to a few of my classmates, Shannon Barber, Erica Kropansky, also Louis Perry, Kevin Fuentes. I mean, there is a wealth of talent to be inspired by here in the city. If you want to talk about some more traditional masters, I would probably default to, you know, like a Richard Avedon or a Gordon Parks, definitely. And even some cinematographers like Ernest Dickerson and Spike Lee. You know, you can learn a lot and graft a lot from, you know, many different places. This is Omega Ruth of Omega Ruth Imagery, and that's all I got. See you later.
Go.
I had to catch myself like, oh, that's a no-no right there.
Wait, you guys start. Because I was recording that.
That was funny.
Click.